214.
Hello, hashtag Verse TV family, and welcome. It's week 214. And if, yep, I'm Aaron Mack, and I'm here with my good friend Kevin, aka Basic Complexity, who will turn his camera to the side also. But yes, we are doing week 214, and I will start off telling us a little bit about a substantial, cute story of myself and the number 214. So, back in my probably early 20s, like college days, I dated this dude who, because, okay, so Kevin and I became friends in PG County, right? So we always talk about PG County. And I always have stories about numbers of streets in PG County. And this PG County street number is Maryland Route 214, which is AKA Central Avenue, which it runs to Mitchellville, and I think it goes a little farther than that, but well, probably much farther as far as 214 itself. But I remember I went on an outing with this dude who lived in Mitchellville. And I guess this is what makes it substantial. One, he was beautiful. Two, being in my early 20s and college days, that's when a lot of times people you date are often still living at home with their family. Like he was like 20 or whatever as well, just like I was 20 or whatever. But, he was living at home with his family and they lived in a big, huge Mitchellville home. And I'm not the one to really get impressed with somebody's home. First of all, and I say this over and over and over and over again. I don't care how much money a guy makes, period. I don't. As long as you're able to support yourself, that's it. And but I was quite impressed with his home because at the end of our date, I think we went to like McDonald's or something. I know, I'm sorry. I'm a cheap date and I provide a cheap date. But when we went back to his home, and we didn't go in his house, but back to his neighborhood, sitting in the car outside of his house, I was actually quite impressed with his home, and he was just a beautiful PG County man, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just everything was falling and the stars were aligned for that one night because that's the only night we went on a date. Anyway, Basic Complexity. Pow. You take it away with your new song, my friend.
Okay, my new song, and of course, I know you love this song or video. Um, it's actually, well, I guess you could say a collaboration between Ariana Grande and Social House, and the song is called "Boyfriend," and I I've loved the song ever since. Well, I first heard it and saw the music video same time, and it was just uh, amazing to me. And the fact that, all right, one of the guys from Social House, there is, well, I guess you say, dark skinned dude and light skinned dude. That they both look good, but I believe the light skinned dude has that same, I guess you say, skin condition or whatever that Michael Jackson had, vitiligo.
Yeah, I think it's pronounced vitiligo or whatever. Yes.
Yeah, all right, that one. And he's actually better able to deal with it because he is already light skinned. So it's not a huge difference, but you could see it. But either way, well, one, I think, well, technically he's not at my age range, but almost. He's young. And the music video itself, I thought was extremely interesting. And because one, he does sing, and him and Ariana Grande, I guess they're, I'll say, characters were in a relationship, or no, not official relationship, but either way you look at it, I still saw it as being extremely toxic. I mean, the video was funny, I'm not gonna lie, but the relationship I thought was kind of toxic. And yeah, that is my, well, newer song um for the week. And one other thing to add, um, in the group socials, it's the two guys, and they did both sing in the song. They actually sound really similar, but yeah, they were both singing in the song, and regardless, I thought they did a very good job to when a song Ariana Grande, your vocals have to be on point.
Yes, of course. Ariana Grande can sing. Now, in terms of you being like, they sound kind of similar, I would say that's sort of the direction of where groups have been going for the past while. Because, like, even like our loves and our age group, B2K, like they, because it would sound, if you listen to them off rip, off cuff, just listen to it without going too deeply, it sounds like, oh, Mariana is just singing all of the leads, but he's not. It's not just all Omarion. Actually, they all sing a little bit, or at least Rasby and Jay Boog also have leads. Anyway, as far as your comment on their age, we looked their age up yesterday because you were like, yeah, I think they're like 20 something. And I'm like, I don't know if they're 20 something. I know I love that video though. I don't know if they're 20 something. And I looked it up and they are team 30 plus, both of them. So as far as I'm concerned, and we'll go into that later on today, coming up on hashtag Burst TV in a little bit, we'll go into age ranges and dating. But both of them are actually 30. And I would say that, yeah. Oh, I was going to comment on this. So, one, Ariana Grande looks stunning. I'm a homosexual man or same gender loving man. I can acknowledge that Ariana Grande looks stunning in that video.
Yes.
You know, just like when I was a kid and my mom would sometimes be able to acknowledge the beauty in a woman. She's like, you can acknowledge the beauty in someone without being like, I want to have sex with them. No, you know? So I acknowledge the beauty of Ariana Grande in that video, you know, cool. And I thought it was cute for the storyline at the time that perhaps a little gratuitous. But when Ariana Grande like it seems so arbitrary, but maybe that's just because I didn't fully follow the video. But when she was like shooting laser power beams from her breast, and I knowing myself at when I was a kid, chances are if I saw something like that when I was a kid, I would have been like, oh, I want to be able to shoot power beams from my breast too. You know, my breast, as I talked about last week, I have gynecomastia. So I'm like, my breasts are kind of perky, like I can shoot power beams from my boobs too. Anyway, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go on to my older song now, okay? My older song is none other than 2012's Pound the Alarm from Nicki Minaj, Romans Reloaded. And I heard that at the gym this Saturday. And I was like, oh, you know, I missed that song because I used to love Roman Reloaded. I'm not gonna lie, like that was my album a lot. And I even did a YouTube video. Nicki Minaj is like technically 1 year older than me, just one. Well, she's an 82 baby. But I remember acknowledging at this time, because I was still in my 20s, and I was like, yeah, you know, Nicki Minaj is like big sis age, you know? Anyway, but I love that song, Pound the Alarm. Come fill my glass. Anyway, but yes, I love that song, Pound the Alarm, and I've since added it back into my playlist of frequent players and like exercise players. Like, I love that song. The video is cool. Yes, it's on my YouTube party mix. Now, as far as, in so much as, you know, I remember this person who it was like a kind of a joke, but the Miss America contestant who was stalling for time, and she was like, so forth and so on, and in so much as I feel that it's a bogus stall tactic, but I get it. Anyway, I've got it here. So this week's topics are hashtag simply sang, hashtag with him, hashtag future love, hashtag incorrectly correcting. Basic Complexity, are you ready to get this show on the road, my friend?
Yeah.
Hashtag simply sang at Levels of Vibes, hashtag VerseTV214A.
Next time you come my way, I'll know just what to say. So can we talk? Yeah. For a single girl, I want to know your name. Can we sing, girl? I want to breathe on your name. Oh, girl, one more chance with you again. I will not let it go. Please give me just one more chance for love. Don't you let me down. I won't let you. I need more than occasional hugs as a token of love from you to me. Oh, baby, look into the corners of your mind. I'll always be there for you through good and bad times, but I can't be that superwoman that you want me to be. I'll give you love, everlasting love, if you return love to me. That I could change the world. Ooh, I'll be the sunlight. I will be the sunlight in the universe, yeah.
fulfill all me, baby. Yeah.
Whatever you want,
Whatever you want, baby.
it's alright with me.
Hey, it's alright with me.
You got that whip for
Yeah,
me.
you,
So whip it on me.
baby,
Better than love.
baby,
Sweet as drink.
sweet,
You got that whip for me.
yeah.
So whip it on me.
Come on, y'all. Whatever you want,
Whatever you want,
it's alright with
it's
me.
alright with me.
You got that with
You got that whip for me.
Get on,
Come on and whip it on me.
it's better than love.
Better than love.
Sweet as can be.
Sweet as can be. Oh, you got it. Oh, you got it. Oh, you.
You are next, Kevin.
All right. All right. After watching the video, I will admit, yes, all three background singers in the video are talented and have their kind of own music careers. But the one that really stood out to me from jump was Tank, because yeah, he was one of the background singers along with Shantae Moore and Avery Wilson. Now I will say that yeah, Tank in general is an incredibly smart man. He knows how to make his money because not only is he getting, well, I guess a little bit from album sales that goes to all music artists. He's getting a secondary income also being a background singer for Babyface. And yeah, they all get paid for that. And I guess that kind of somewhat fills in that spot. Because just with album sales in general, and when I say this, I mean any artist, they don't get that much from album sales alone. So yeah, he found a secondary income. Can't fault him for that. It's like, yeah, do your thing, man. Making it. And all right, now I will admit, wow, years ago, because I was definitely still a teenager, I believe. At the time when I first became aware of Tank, and yeah, I was in my late teens. But I was like, yeah, but it was just on point. And I'm fully aware he's straight. That's just eye candy for me, to me. But yeah, he's, like I say, he's making money from album sales, also from doing background vocals for Babyface. And that's touring vocals. That doesn't even count. He's doing non-touring background vocals for any other artist. He's getting paid for that also.
All right. So I will say that my initial reaction, they sang background this time coincidentally for Babyface at this particular event. But I almost feel like when you call them his background singers, it's like they sang background, but I don't know if they'd be classified as his background singers. I don't know. It just felt like whatever. But being somebody's background singer is not a bad thing. Anyway, so let me go on with what I'm saying. Avery Wilson is born July 18th, 1995. And that's relevant because he is talented. And when I first saw this, as far as my initial reaction, I did not realize like this super group of people who just so happened to be singing background at time, well, singing with each other in a group.
Yeah.
It was first I was like, is that Tank? I don't know. And then I saw something that said, oh, the woman is Shantae Moore. And then I'm like, oh, that is Tank. Anyway, I think they are exceptional. And as far as my connection, I rode with an Uber driver this past weekend coming from gym. And he was jamming some, classic 70s music. And he was like, they don't make music like this anymore, and I interjected kindly, and I'm like, I turned 40 today. I am 40, and I will say, as it relates to classifying things as like today's music, people don't sing like they used to. I gave him the example of this Tiny Desk performance, because that's what it was, NPR's Tiny Desk performance. And they were exceptional. And I'm like, yeah, there are still people who can sing exceptionally well, but the music business is a business, and it decides what we want to want. Okay? That's what it is. And it tells us what we want. And it's almost like the executives in the music industry are in a biggest D competition in terms of being like, you know what? I am going to hire the least talented person to make them the most successful star. In spite of the fact that there are extremely talented people talented people out here, I will pick the least talented person, make them an extremely big star, and I can do that better than you. The ratio of talent to success, I can bring the person from the worst of the worst and make them famous. Anyway, I'll save the rest for my 1 minute. Basic complexity, you're 1 squared.
Yeah. All right. I like the way you worded that. Just kind of figure out how I was wording this. And was just saying that with once again Tank in general, he's starting to get his stuff in order. And hey, it's like, do you think? And that's all I have.
Okay. So for my 1 minute, I will finish and say, yeah, it's almost like a biggest D competition to see who can take the least talented person and make them the most famous. In spite of the fact that there are extremely talented people out there, extremely talented. Like I remember when I was in school, like the number of people who could sing their butts off in school, it was like, well, why aren't people like that famous? Now, I also realize not everybody who sings their butt off wants to become famous. And that's a dichotomy that I learned in as well, because my minor was in music, classical voice. And a lot of times people who sing are trained in classical voice. They don't want to sing pop music, but there are still those who are trained in pop music and do an exceptional job. Anyway, I also acknowledge that part of their benefit, industry's benefit of making this seemingly talentless person famous or making us like them is because that way when they reach that pinnacle of success, they won't be able to be like, oh, well, I did this myself. I want a new manager. I want to leave you because I did this myself. No, they'll have to be humble. Anyway, my one sentence is great talent is still all around, but the industry decides who gets promoted. Nevertheless, indie artists today now have distribution power, which is something that they used to not have back in the day. Anyway, now my question for the hashtag Verse TV family, a Verse TV family question. My question for you, please leave it in the comments. Is complaining about today's music a sign of older age? Like anybody who complains about today's music, like might you as well be like, oh, okay, I'm approaching retirement age. Anyway, oh my gosh, okay, whatever. Are you ready for the next topic?
Let's do it.
Oh, right.
Hashtag with him at Tedley. Hashtag VerseTV214B.
How did you sleep last night?
You know how I slept last night.
So, guys, we're going to talk about dating in 2023.
Yes, let's talk about it. So, okay. So I think the first question I would have for you and your viewpoint on is, let's talk about age. The age differences in dating. Do you think age plays a vital part in dating? Do you think, age matters?
Honestly, I don't think age matters as long as they're of age. And again, when you found the right one, you know you got the right one. They can be 25 and you can be 45. And you know if you know that's the right person, and it always says opposite attracts.
And recently, I don't see you out like that no more. Why is that?
I'm in with you. Y'all, if y'all can really see his ass up close, them eyes is everything. He's gonna get it. We're not gonna edit that part out.
Keep it PG, okay? Keep it PG.
This is for grown and sexy. Understood. Don't need to be explained.
Anyways, so you guys continue to check us out on our channel.
Like, subscribe, and also share.
Yes, it's Royal of Love. Subscribe and like. We just started our page.
And share.
And so the purpose of our page was to just highlight positivity and true love and true authentic bond between us two. When we're out and about, whether we're just at the house, relaxing, chilling.
Ooh. I don't know why that just cut off, but we get the gist. And that's their page. Kevin, it looks like you're off at the moment. I am up first, but yeah. I'll say my initial reaction is, at first, when I first saw this, I thought that Tedley was like 25 and that the dude, the older dude in their pairing, was 40, late or in his 40s or 50s, somewhere in there. And what happened is it had me think about this dude that I dated when I was 34 and he was 25, 26, right? And I even talked to my mental health counselor about him, and she was like, yeah, well, technically you're both legal, right? So you can, but at 25, 26, and you at 34, there's a you're in different places mentally at with such an age gap. And I was like, oh, okay. And I remember I went on a date with him to Chick-fil-A. Again, I'm a cheap date. I'm a cheap date. Yay. I went on a date with him to Chick-fil-A. And I told him that he was beautiful, beautiful chocolate brother. Ugh. I was like, I wanted to let you know that you are beautiful. And you want to know his response? Can y'all guess his response? He said to me, he's like, don't you think I already know that? I was like, done. Because it's like, I, I, I get it. Okay, you should love yourself, and that's a beautiful thing. Great, good. But I also realized in dealing with him, because at that time when I was 34, I was producing a different social media show at the time, and I re- I had to realize that the reason he was interested in me was because of that. And I'm like, oh, mm-mm. Because what he said to me, and this is when this was the last straw, that the don't you know I'm beautiful was like, okay, that's a good thing, but I didn't end it with that. But I did bring it to an end when he was like, well, I mean, you're producing this show and I'm dating you. So, like, wouldn't it be cool if you had me on that show? Huh? And I was like, oh, is that why you're dating me? Thank you. Goodbye. And I will save the rest for my 1 minute, which all actually relates to the topic. Actually, basic complexity.
Yes, I was definitely trying to memorize what I was gonna say, but I didn't. So I'm just gonna read what I have down. I wrote. I think that two of them made some good points. And I also agree on some level. I'm sorry, on some level, it is okay to have some time with just friends. Um and yeah, some time with just your friends. You don't have to be like around your partner like 24/7. No, I think that's understandable and that's cool on some level. Actually, I've I don't think I've ever been in a relationship where someone wanted me to cut friends off because I don't operate like that. They were there for you, they'll probably be there after you. Um, so that is my take on that. And sorry, somewhat. All right, yeah. Um, as far as dating, me personally, just me personally, I would date someone close to my age. Like, max, I can't see anything over a 10-year age difference. And currently I have a 4-year age difference. And I'm the older one. But that's fine because we could relate on a lot of things. And yeah, 10 plus year age difference, you can't quite relate fully on the same things because it happened at a different time in your life. So yeah, that's what I have.
Okay. For my 1 minute, I will say, first of all, I did a little digging on Tedley, and he's actually 33 years old. And I was a bit relieved, honestly, just for the sake of them, because I was like, ooh, if you're doing a 25 something and you're 40 something, 50 something, like that's quite a bit of a difference. And I always want relationships to work. And I'm like, that could be a struggle. But what I also conclude in general, 30 plus is all good, period. Period, in my opinion. And I will reference what Dan Savage said as far as when it comes to dating somebody who's younger, legal is always important, but legal and having somebody who's that much younger, like somebody in their 20s, he's like, don't expect to be that person's one for the rest of your life. It might happen, but campsite rule. Leave him better than you found him. Improve his life. And I think that's important. And I also acknowledge when I was 19 years old, I regularly dated a 43-year-old dude. And I guess I'm out of time. I'll just go into my one sentence and say, dare I say, after 30, all is fair in love and war. But let's love, family. Let's love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's funny. As I practiced my whole thing, I was like, oh, I hope I don't go into Deborah Wilson's impersonation of Whitney Houston on Mad TV when she was like, what the world needs now is rugs, Persian rugs. Anyway, I'm sorry. Deborah Wilson did a great Whitney Houston play impersonation, and I'd like to think that Whitney Houston herself actually also thought it was cute. Like, okay, I guess, like kind of funny, or hilarious, because sometimes she was hilarious. Anyway, my hashtag Verse TV family question for the family is, I'll read that after you do your thing.
All right.
You're one squared.
Yeah, what I have is just that everyone has their own ways of tackling different situations. As far as them, and yeah, basically do what they basically would do what works for them. And that's it.
All right. The hashtag Verse TV family question for the family. The hashtag Verse TV family. We're asking, what is the biggest romantic age gap that you've had? What made it a good thing? What made it a bad thing? Share in the comments. Basic Complexity, are you ready for C? And
yeah,
let's go.
Hashtag Future Love at the Diary of a CEO Emergency Episode E252. Will AI fix loneliness? Hashtag VerseTV214C.
Do you think it could? That artificial love and artificial relationships.
So if I told you you have you cannot take your car somewhere, but there is an Uber, or if you cannot take an Uber, you can take the tube, or if you cannot take the tube, you have to walk. Okay, you can take a bike or you have to walk. The bike is a cure to walking. It's as simple as that.
I'm actually genuinely curious. Do you think it could take the place of human connection?
For some of us, yes. For some of us, they will prefer that to human connection.
Is that sad in any way?
I mean,
is it just sad because it feels sad?
Look at where we are, Stephen. We are in the city of London. We've replaced nature with the walls and the tubes and the undergrounds and the overgrounds and the cars and the noise and of London. And we now think of this as natural. I hosted Greg Foster, my octopus teacher, on Slow Mo, and he basically, I asked him a silly question. I said, you were diving in nature for 8 hours a day. Does that feel natural to you? And he got angry. I swear, you could feel it in his voice. He was like, do you think that living where you are, where paparazzi are all around you and attacking you all the time, and people taking pictures of you and telling you things that are not real, and you having to walk to a supermarket to get food, do you think this is natural?
He's the guy that dove from the Netflix documentary.
Yeah, from my octopus teacher.
So he dove into the sea every day for
8 hours
to hang out with an octopus.
In 12 degrees Celsius.
And he basically fell in love with the octopus.
And in a very interesting way, I said, so why would you do that? And he said, we are of Mother Nature. You guys have given up on that. That's the same. People will give up on nature for convenience.
What's the cost?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say to the world is that if we give up on human connection, we've given up on the remainder of humanity. That's it. This is the only thing that remains. The only thing that remains is, and I'm the worst person to tell you that, because I love my AIs. I actually advocate in my book.
My initial reaction is, yes, Mo Gaudat. He's absolutely right. And honestly, I was a little afraid of AI and some not really knowing enough. But I'm reading his book, and I actually watched that full interview. It's like an hour and 30 minutes, and I watched the full thing. And it was very enlightening and even comforting. And I say, well, it's like we love our pets. We've learned and grown to love our pets. So why not AI? Also, genius Mo Gaudat said that at this point, the AI things are infants. They're infants, they're growing, and they're going to grow at a rapid rate. And he's like, it's important to make sure that we raise them to be good, because they will be billions of times smarter than the average human. He's like, that's just fact. That's just what it is, because it's able to process everything available instantly. And it's like, but that could be a good thing. And I say, what if it's like what if it's like the AI creations are like our perfect matchmakers? They talk about the cure for lonely, and what about people getting with the robots? Yeah, some might do that. Some might want that. Some might want to just be with a robot. If it looks and acts just like a human and feels like a human, they might just want to be with a robot. Not everybody would necessarily want that. And what if, as far as other people, AI can just be like your really smart best friend who is a perfect matchmaker, and when you all go out to the club together, they're able to size somebody up and be like, that's a good one for you to take a shot at. I've been catching their eye, and they actually do want to speak to you. I don't know. I've been communicating with their AI, and they secretly really like you. So you should go for it. I don't know, anything. But all of that is possible. And yes, uh, I'll save it for the 1 minute. Darn it. Okay. Base complexity, you, friend.
Okay. All right. Sort of asking Bob was already asked the question, but I got some more answer. And the question is, will AI fix loneliness? I would say one. Well, no, I will just say flat out no. I mean, some people may think it'll fix loneliness, and even if it actually does, it's only for a short time. Um, and yeah, AI is a technology created by a standard human being. And we have to realize that AI is only as smart as they are programmed to be. So, yeah, I don't think it could actually take the place of another actual human being. Um, but I would say to each their own. If you want to take a shot with AI, do your thing. Good luck. And that's all I have.
So, in response to that, as well as my 1 minute, I'll say when you say they can only do what they're taught, that's true to a sort of limited extent, to the extent that AI today is actually able to learn things on its own. It's not just doing only the code that it has in it, it's actually able to learn things. And we actually even go into that in a anyway. But I will say, as far as it replacing human connection, it takes me back to our fellow 1983 sister, Carrie Underwood, with one of her songs on her Carnival Ride album, which I love. She says, "The more boys I meet, the more I love my dog." You know, and it's like if people are able to, and of course, she's not talking about a romantic connection to a dog, but if people are able to have such connections, then they can. And as far as it being sad, it that's because it's not in line with society's rules for love. But as a gay man, I'm not in line with society's rules for love. So I'll say, and also going back to the Cleveland corrections officer woman who was fired for connecting with the inmates, you know, it's like an AI human will always be there. Just like the guy will always be on the yard at 3 p.m., the AI will always be there if it's yours. Its complexity, you're one square. Oh, I'm sorry, my one sentence. Just like genius Mo Gaudat says, this is a pivotal time in the AI infants' lives. Let's raise them to be good for humanity, encouraging positivity, because the AI are learning. They can learn. They learn. So let's put good out there for them to learn. Base complexity, you're one square.
Yeah, basically, I would say, and all right, there we go. More or less, we need to stop living in this like a fantasy world where everything fixes itself. Yeah, more or less, that's it.
Oh, right. And the hashtag VerseTV family question. For the hashtag VerseTV family, we would like to know, as people, we've grown to love our pets. Can you grow to love your genius AI friend? And what would you need to learn to love your AI friend? Base complexity, are you ready for the next one where you go first?
Yes.
Hashtag incorrectly correcting at life_of_PZ, hashtag VerseTV214D.
If I wanted to say that, I would have wrote it.
You implied that.
I said what I said.
Okay, well, what you
Okay?
said was some bullshit.
If I wanted to say that, I would have wrote it.
You implied that.
I said what I said.
Okay, well, what you
Okay?
said was some bullshit.
I should have said this. I apologize. The on-screen text is when you try to write slang versus your autocorrect. And I will play it one more time since it was so quick anyway.
Hashtag incorrectly correcting at life_of_PZ, hashtag VerseTV214D.
If I wanted to say that, I would have wrote it.
You implied that.
I said what I said.
Okay, well, what you
Okay?
said was some bullshit.
If I wanted to say that, I would have wrote it.
You implied that.
I said what I said.
Okay, well, what you
Okay?
said was some bullshit.
Base complexity.
All right. Just don't want to drop that. All right. So after reading that or this, I will fully admit that autocorrect is like a double-edged sword. It could be good, but it could be bad also, depending on the situation. And yeah, because definitely it's happened to me in the past with autocorrect. Oh, say things you don't even intend to say. It's like you didn't mean it like that. I know it came out like that, but that's not how you meant it. And that's what I have.
All right. So, as far as that, I will say my initial reaction to this is it's absolutely hilarious. That's part of the reason that I was like, I need to play it again because that's absolutely hilarious. I will also, and I feel that that is the best use of that line outside of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And also, the dude who did this, he is an opposite gender loving man with a wife and kids. So I do feel that that is something worth acknowledging. Also, I will say, even outside of using it for slang or trying to get it slang by autocorrect, is like sometimes it can still be, the autocorrect can be like, well, what you said was some bull, you know, like you'll be like, that's not what I wrote. That's not what I'm saying. It'd be like autocorrect will be like, well, what you said was some bull. Anyway, But autocorrect, going back to the whole AI thing, autocorrect is also also a smaller. Not everything AI is a robot now. You know, it's a smaller version of AI to the extent that it learns our habits and how to better autocorrect us. And I think that's cool. And like Mo Gaudat says, we can ensure positive growth for our AI offspring, if you will, who are growing, and they are young right now. Now, as a gay man, I must acknowledge, in spite of the fact that I am a same-gender loving man, I think Candy Burris is absolutely stunning, beautiful woman. Yes, yes, she is. And it reminds me of my first boyfriend who years ago, well, my first boyfriend, so I was 20, 21. I was 20. And he was 28. And I remember he said, and I just took it at face value, but he was like, yeah, you know, I saw Candy recently and she's looking hard. You know, she is looking, you know, and this was before Real Housewives of Atlanta. But he was like, yeah, Candy's been looking hard. You know, that lesbian life will get to you. And I was like, really? I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, yeah, I don't like lesbians. Lesbians are scary. And I'm like, really? I don't know what you're talking. That's not been my experience. And he was like, because lesbians always want to fight without missing a beat. A lesbian was walking down the street arbitrarily with a wife beater on. She was like, who want to fight? I want to fight somebody. Anyway, I can save it for my 1 minute and actually tell the story. Basic complexity 1-1.
Yeah, basically, it's just that the age-old statement here is very true. And it's that everything good is not always good for you.
Oh, right. So, yes, for me again, as a same gender loving man, I must acknowledge that Candy is absolutely beautiful. In spite of the fact that my first boyfriend was like, and again, this was before Real Housewives of Atlanta. This was like after the album wasn't called The Softest Place on Earth, but the lead song was Softest Place on Earth. Anyway, after that third CD, but before Real Housewives of Atlanta, he was like, yeah, Candy looks hard. Candy is beautiful. Anyway, but yeah. That was such an interesting coincidence as far as the woman in the wife beater. And the reason I assume she's a lesbian is because we were actually walking around in the gay part of town in Philadelphia. And just out of the blue, she was like, I want to fight somebody. I want to fight somebody. Almost as if on cue, almost as if a sloppily written script, in my opinion. Anyway, but yeah, it was cute. And he clutched under me. He was like, Aaron, keep me safe. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Anyway, and I like him big, and he's a big old, well, he's not a big old dude. He's not tall, but he's thick. Anyway, so my one sentence is, autocorrect learning is an example of AI learning, and it is growing. Basic complexity, yeah, you did your 1-1. So our hashtag Verse TV question for the family is, do you allow your daily use cell phone to use autocorrect? Do you turn it off? And if you keep it on, do you like its accuracy? Well, I guess you must, but Tell me, if you haven't turned it off, do you like the accuracy of your autocorrect? Basic complexity. Oh, we're at the closing. Oh, right. So this has been week 214. Oh, and I didn't even say this. I apologize. You actually used to work off of Route 214, mister. Yes, I got so caught up in talking about that dude that he disappeared on me. A lot of dudes disappeared on me at that time. And it wasn't like we didn't even do anything. I guess, anyway. But yes, you used to work off of Route 214 in Maryland. So that's also a connection worth acknowledging. So this has been week 214. I'm Aaron Mack. You can find me, Aaron Mack, at bursttv.com, AARONMCK at BERSTEAB.com. We're all over social media, hashtag BERSTEAB. And Basic Complexity, I see. Where can we find you, friend?
Yes. Sorry, I was RIM.
So I'll actually even give you a hint. Your TikTok is at My Basic Complexity. Everything else, take it from there.
Then, all right. Aside from that, and I'm trying to. There we go. Aside from that, everything else is just basic complexity. And I'm not sure if you could see my name on the screen. It's same thing, basic complexity. And it's just two words, basic and complexity. Put them together, merge them to one word, and that's it. So it's BSICCOMPLEXITY.
And at VerseTV.com, Basic Complexity at VerseTV.com. They can email you.
Well, yeah.
I have a question for you after. But now, are you ready for the... Oh, no, we're not at that at this point. At this point, we are at the... Sorry, YouTube, we have to turn you off because we don't want YouTube to flag us. Sorry. But we're continuing on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, because YouTube don't play it.
Yes, it does not at all. Anyway, so, and